Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. So it's been many months since we've done a recorded video, but we have some news here that is worth talking about. I've done a pivot recently to doing a lot of lives. I love the live format. It's been a lot of fun. But what we're talking about today is some breaking news that we heard from Simon from Erik's Curiosa in an interview he did with Drew and Patrick at the March of the Mortals tournament. It's the weekend of March 16th was the event, 2024. And there was a lot of interesting information. It's been a while since we've seen an interview from a company employee, and Simon had a lot of great and interesting things to share. So what we're going to do is recap that. There was a video recently put out by Cardboard Guide. They did a great crash course overview. What I want to do is offer my takes and just kind of a walkthrough question by question for what it's worth of what was said. All right? So Simon says things. You see, I put together this nice PowerPoint for you. I go the extra mile for the fans. All right, Simon says things. Seeing what we can do to make product. All right, this is the first thing he said. He did an intro before the questions came, and he said generally they're trying to see what they can do to make product more widely available as they move into Arthurian Legends and get it in the hands of as many people as possible and as many places as possible. So there's been some talk by Simon and others in the official Sorcery Discord where he said that they were working on building out their supply chain and logistics, I believe, looking into local storage, warehousing in North America. I'm not sure if they're doing that internationally in Europe and other markets just yet, but they're trying to proliferate that network and make things more, I'm assuming, paraphrasing here, to make things more predictably visible as to when they can release product and get it out to folks across the world, right? So this is a focus, as you would expect, to try to get that in line for a successful Arthurian Legends release. So the question was asked, when will Arthurian Legends be released? And Simon's answer was early Q4. So Q4 is October, November, December. So early would be no earlier than October, right? So some folks were hoping that this would come out around Gen Con time. I think they will have some kind of presence at Gen Con. I think that has been discussed. It could be a side tournament. I'm not sure if they're going to man an official booth there, but they will not have Arthurian Legends. So my assumption would be that there's no reason perhaps to have like a primary major booth at Gen Con. It's more likely that in the latter part of the year they'd want to potentially consider that as Arthurian Legends is being released. So they said that they need to work with their partners and align to events later in the year if possible. So they're working with partners to figure out the distribution strategy or logistics, presumably. And then there was mention of events later in the year. So we need to be thinking about what events are happening later in the year. And on Sophie's video, Sophie and Jens from Cardboard Guide, they speculated that Spiel Essen, I think is the name of it, is a major tournament in Germany in the fourth quarter. And then I'm hearing from the guys in Italy that there is another major event, and the name is escaping me right now, but it's very large. It's TCG oriented. I think that happens towards the end of October, whereas the Spiel Essen event is, I want to say maybe first couple weeks of October. So I'm not sure. Maybe a 2-for-1 deal. If they can get to both, that would be amazing, but I don't know. They might be separated by a few weeks, and we got Erik down in New Zealand, Simon in Texas, Chase up in Connecticut, Rafa's down in Brazil. People are all over the place, you know? So if they're trying to take the team out and make a splash, you know, hopefully there's one major one that coincides with Arthurian. They have an in-person release. That would be super cool. All right, will Sorcery host its own events? So Simon says it would be careless of the company to take on everything, right? So you spread yourself too thin, and then you start finding cracks in the seams or in the boat, and you sink to the bottom of the ocean, and then you have no more slow boats to bring the product to the people. So smart. Let the community run events, right? It's just not a priority for the company. They need to figure out supply chain, logistics, get product out, get visibility into their release cycles, just smooth operations, right? As you would expect as you get down the line into a few more sites. It's a small team. They can't do it all. Makes sense. They want to do everything they can to support others to succeed. So what he meant by that is he was basically giving kudos to the different event organizers across the world. You know, like there's been a few in the U.S. We got Jesse doing one down in Australia. There was one on the West Coast, Sorcery Con. Drew did his down in Texas. And then we have the Social Club doing their Courtesan Cup in Baltimore. And there's been all kinds of qualifiers all over the country, Connecticut, Albany, New York with Flights 2 games. I think Lewis is doing one down at a store, 2 Fluent, down in Florida. So everyone's coming together and really putting on great events. And Drew did an amazing world-class March of the Mortals event. So kudos to him. They may announce later, more later this year. So again, that could coincide with Arthurian release. That I think was more specific to Sorcery hosting an event themselves. But in the meantime, they are trying to provide support for the community to hold successful and fun events, and it's been going great. All right, spoilers philosophy. They want the mystery to be discovered through the box opening experience. So here he was talking about the release cadence, like how many spoilers they would show on their socials or through content creators, presumably. So they're doing that in a measured and controlled way. He said later this year that'll ramp up a bit and they'll have opportunities to share with content creators. Nice. Both art and cards. All right, so we'll see how that shakes out. I don't know anything. I don't know if others know anything, but I'm interested just as you guys are. All right, slide 2. What is Simon's take on Chaos Twister? So for some reason, the Chaos Twister is like super polarizing. I thought this card was epic, iconic. I talked about in a Sorcery community Facebook group how I made some comments to Erik about how Chaos Twister, or how it would, I forget if this was before Chaos Twister existed and was announced at all, but I was saying, like, wouldn't it be sweet, and I apologize to you guys that hate this idea, but I was like, wouldn't it be perfect for Sorcery if they had like a Chaos Orb of Sorcery where you just drop cards on the realm? You know, like in Magic, you would play like head-to-head, right? And your cards would be probably close to yourself. I mean, they wouldn't be spatially distributed, certainly in a way that it is in Sorcery. So to have a Chaos Twister effect where you blow the card off your hand onto the realm, I think is pretty epic. So some people hate it, though. You know, they don't want these shenanigans about dexterity cards, I guess, as the game players call it. So he says he enjoys, the team enjoys introducing unusual things so people can experience them. It makes the game more fun and experiential. They don't want to homogenize the experience and make it like perfectly linear, you know. So some of these splash cards, he talked about Death Dealer that kills all the mortals in the realm. Like those cards are very swingy and fun and add a different aspect of flavor and dynamicism to the gameplay experience. So I think that makes a lot of sense. They want to use mechanics like this sparingly, however, but they think those big swing cards are fun, again. All right, will the set after Arthurian Legends be Q4 2025? Okay, so on a one-year cadence since Arthurian Legends is coming out in Q4. Said he doesn't know. At the moment, it depends on the size of the next set, so that's not written in stone, so we'll see. Regarding mini sets, they're working with Ed Beard Jr. on the Dragon Lord mini set, and that is not an official name just yet. I think they're still thinking through what the name will be, and they'd like to do more of those. Great. That might be a great gap filler, in my opinion, to introduce those between annual sets to kind of scratch the itch of players, perhaps shake up the meta, and make them collectible in some way. I'm sure Erik is going to work on something brilliantly creative to make those collectible and also appeal to collectors who I believe are more at risk of getting bored in the long lulls and stretches between releases if they're not playing the game as much or at all. Whereas the game players, especially for this very large 400 card set for beta, there's a lot of the meta to explore. It's not completely figured out. There's a lot of different decks you can make and, you know, different experiences you can have, and I think that has a lot of legs. But these mini sets could appeal to both the game players by mixing up the meta, introducing new cards, maybe new avatars that change things up, the deck archetypes and whatnot, and for collectors, if there's some aspect of collectability, that's a win-win for all markets. All right, so he said they want to consider gameplay value and market placement and how to get it to the right people. So here I think he was talking about both the collector and the gameplay appeal and making sure it kind of resonates with folks. All right, moving on. Is there a plan to make a second print of beta to distributors? So he said they're conscious of how people use the product, and the dust codes gives them some insight into that. They want to use the Play Network as a target to potentially distribute product to people who want to play the game rather than collect it. So double-edged sword here. I think people that want to collect it want to have access to the product too. So Maybe they're thinking about that. I don't know. It wasn't stated explicitly, but obviously you need cards to get in the hands of the game players accessibly, affordably, hopefully to stores who are your ambassadors and evangelists of the game and are really going to sustain interest by hosting events and tournaments and build a community, so people can network and make friends and, have people to play with, have people to trade with, that type of thing. So we'll see on that. It wasn't very specific. Did the Sorcery team have a 2, 3, or 5-year plan, and is it on course? So Simon said no on this, and then he went on to elaborate. At first I was like, what? No business plan? No roadmap? But I don't think he meant it like that at all. As he went on to elaborate, he said that most companies will say they have a plan, but being a small and nimble company and given the extreme demand for this product, his point was they've had to be nimble. They know what they want to do as a company, but the plans need to be elastic, was the way he phrased it. So they do have an idea of what the game will look like over the coming years, and I think they have like a strategy, a vision, a roadmap for what the Sorcery experience will be like. But it's not like a recipe, like a concrete plan. They're allowing for some nuance or elasticity in their approach, right? So as a small company, he went on to say they need to be reactive. So I think that means they're looking at community feedback, which is great, and they're willing to be flexible and adjust and create the best experience they can for folks. Again, I'm paraphrasing. I'm inserting some of my own views and words on top of his. All right. He did say Arthurian Legends is going to be a smaller set than Beta, but he would not commit to the number of cards. And he confirmed that the Ed Bear Jr. set will be after Arthurian Legends. So in my mind, I'm assuming 2025 sometime. Ed's working on that through his Patreon. You could join his Patreon, watch him paint live, which is amazing. And I think he still has a couple more paintings to do. And when you sign up, you can see his whole archive of all the other ones he painted. So if you want spoilers, you could go see them, at least the art. We don't know what the cards do or anything like that at all, but you can see Ed's amazing artwork. And spoiler alert, there might be a little something that I bring to the Social Club Courtesan Cup this summer. So stay tuned for that one. All right, Simon says things. Will there be rotations? Standard, historic, etc.? He said if so, that would be many years in the future. They don't design with that in mind, so no immediate plans on that front. Will Arthurian Legends have precons? No. He said no precons. There's still great demand for the alpha and beta precons. And they want everything to be experienced via the booster box for Arthurian Legends, is what he said, which is interesting because it makes you wonder how will Elvira Shakarova's amazing knights be used in Arthurian Legends. I thought maybe they could be separate from the box and be special promos, but recalling what Erik told me when I did the reveal with Elvira on the channel, we revealed the Sir Tristan, amazing artwork, incredible gilding, and Erik told me, and he said I could say this on the channel, so he said it'll have a special foiling on a gilded border that will really make these things amazing, and he said it's going to be a special chase card. So he didn't elaborate what that means. It's high level. It gives us enough margin to speculate, but those cards are going to be a very big deal, and it sounds like they're going to be in the booster box based on additional comments here from Simon saying that everything will be discovered through the booster boxes. Now, maybe he didn't mean it that literally. Maybe there will be promo cards. I don't know. We'll see. Is a revised set still planned? He said this was my question. I wanted to know if Revise was still in the plan, because I'm discovering artwork, guys, that was commissioned with the same card title, the same name, asked for by the artist with different art, right? So he said it's premature to say. He said they need enough cards to justify a Revise set, and they need to know like what the favorites are, how they play in the game, and then also provision a lot of new art to make it meaningful for people to want to buy the product. Right, so again, he's talking about product placement, trying to architect like what that would look like, when it would be needed. If they're going to do a revised set, then typically the presumption is that would be some subset or retained combination of alpha and or beta cards. Beta basically is alpha, except the Erik's Curiosa is kind of a limbo card in a way, so to speak. Right, so what from beta would they want to retain in a revised set? And then I think what he's hinting at here is that if they were to do this in the future, you would have different artwork. I don't know if that means the entire set or some like significant percentage of it, but you'd want that product to be appealing more than just kind of like a straight up reprint years from now of that set, right? So He said that might be a few years out before they even consider that. So that was pretty interesting to hear. I thought it could be next year. He said in a few years, so we'll see. All right. Elasticity. They could change their mind at any point. All right. Reveal of Dust promo cards and single play mats. So he did a reveal. He had, at first he called them sample cards, and then he changed it to, I think he said, did he say sample cards? He called them pre-production cards of the promo cards. And he showed, I think there's 4 of those. I won't kind of like get into detail on what those are. But he also showed the single player play mats. So 3 ways to get dust. You get it from the barcode on the bottom of booster boxes, both alpha and beta. There's a scratch off on there. You get the code, you go to the website, you create a login, and then it will say redeem box code, I think is what it says in the menu drop down in the upper right. And you want to make sure you redeem those, rack up your dust. That's one way to get it. The second is to join the Play Network. And then if you participate in events and or, win achievements, you will acquire dust through those 2 methods as well. So 3 ways to acquire dust. Next month, they'll launch the dust system. And he said initially that will be in North America. And then within the coming months, he said generically, they're going to expand that out to Europe and Asia. So what are the dust awards? So we know there will be playmats. There will be the promo cards. I think in the past they showed, he didn't talk about this, but they showed like a t-shirt and a hoodie. So hopefully they still have those. I need more shirts, guys. I only have 1 shirt. I got to wash it every week for my weekly lives. And I need a hoodie too. I love hoodies, although we're going into the summer now. So maybe just a few t-shirts will do the trick. All right. So they'll have the playmats, right? And they have a Vincent Pompetti, the Roots of Yggdrasil, the Liz Danforth, Mirror Realm. These are all single player. They have the Drew Tucker Primordial Ooze, and then they have the Jeff Menges Watchtower. Those are the 4 playmats. Those were selected based on demand from the community. Everyone was saying, like, the art on these cards are awesome. We need playmats with that artwork. They'd be perfect, right? So there'll be the standard, I guess you'd call it, mats that you can get through Dust Code Redemption from their store. And then they'll have a certain limited number that they're going to send to the artists free at the company's cost. And then those artists will get to do whatever they want with them. Presumably, they would sign them, sell them, bring them to events, whatever they want. That's for the artist to decide. And they will be designated with something that says artist series or something to that effect. Down in the corner, so they will be differentiated from the regular playmats, which I was flipping out about because he didn't say that during the interview. I was peppering him with questions in the chat in Drew's tournament afterward, and then thank you, Simon. He came back and answered the question, so appreciate that one. All right, and that's it, guys. That is the scope of the interview. It was an amazing tournament. Go check it out, March of the Mortals. This summer, there's going to be the Social Club's Courtesan Cup in Baltimore. I will be there. I think I'm going to have a booth there. I don't know. I keep finding more and more like artists and vendors are showing up. So I'm going to bring something really special and awesome related to art, probably artist proofs. I don't know, all kinds of different things. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to meet a lot of you guys in person. So far, 4 artists have been announced: Drew Tucker, Jeff Menges, Tony Sublow, and Alan Pollock. And there's more to come, so stay tuned. There's a lot of guests. The dates are June 14 to 16. It's going to be a big deal. You won't want to miss it. And there's a lot of fun stuff coming up on the channel. Please like and subscribe, follow, consider supporting me on Patreon, or join my Discord, join the Sorcery community group. There's a lot going on all the time. And thank you to Simon for answering these questions and giving us some additional insight. It's really great to hear the direction of the company and where we're at, and have something to look forward to with Arthurian Legends. Recorded video, less than 20 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm on fire, baby. Short little video. Take care, everybody. Talk to you soon.